Good evening, guys. Thanks for joining in again. So, just wanted to break down a few things this evening because there's a lot of sideways movement. Not a lot's really happened out there today. A lot of this is due to the fundamentals. So, let's have a look and focus on that. So, calendar-wise, Wednesday is a very big day for the US. This evening you've got the governor of Australia is talking, and tomorrow is economic sentiment from Germany, so that's going to affect the euro. And Wednesday we've got a lot. You've got Chinese loans, and you've got the dollars, CPI numbers, FOMC statements and projections, the funds rate, and then the press conference after, where whatever Powell sort of has to say could have a big effect on the market. So I think there's a lot of reason for the sideways movement at the moment. And don't forget, on the 12th you've got the pound elections, so that is going to have massive impact. So very likely be staying out of the market on Thursday unless something really does present itself. Equally, potentially Wednesday could be a very quiet week. So glad we managed to bank 40 pips this morning. And we've still got other euro news, CAD news and dollar news for the rest of the week. So very filled week full of red news. If we have a look on the news tabs, we've got stuff going on about policy debates in Europe, not having too much effect there. It's given this a rip on about the deal with Mexico, but I don't see that sort of too much effect there. It's mainly this US stuff that we're looking at here, and some updates on the US-China potential deal. Some reason, it wasn't too positive about that last week, but it seemed to have killed the gold trades on the longs, etc. But potentially could still pull back up from where we are, which we will have a look at in a moment. It is giving the indication from news, which is what I like this site. It pulls in sort of from various sources, but Johnson's in the lead. I mean, if he does manage to keep in, then I expect to see a bit of a bullish run on FTSE and the pound, and a bit of relief on gold and other sort of crosses at that point, because the risk will be off a little bit. If Labour gets in, I think it'll be terrible for the pound. I'll call it there, and we'll have to see what happens. But hopefully, the consensus is that hopefully that is what continues, and we see. But as I say, just majorly sideways day. I mean, literally the whole volume of today has been pretty much 58 to 65, and 70 pips total, so captured more than half of the whole movement of the day. Happy with that. It isn't much to look at. I mean, the silver shows a little bit of a different picture. Silver looks to be sort of hovering on the daily 200, and potentially, could be pushing up from where we are. So if that is the case, then I expect gold's going to do the same. So I'm keeping an eye, and we'll see what looks like the lower time frames coming into tomorrow. At the moment, just it's gone up and it's come back down. No real read to anything. It looks like it could test up here and continue to the downside, which, if things go right in Parliament, and the rates get kept the same in the US, then very much potentially could have a negative effect on gold. But it really isn't too much to see. I mean, you look on the 5 minutes, it just shows the same thing. We've sort of just come up, we've come back down, and now sort of hovering around again, but no real hold above. I mean, for us to rig to these longs, we want to see a push up on the hourly, and a sort of break and retest at the 21 to sort of cross back over, push into the upside. So the trade that sort of came in this morning was actually placed last night on the open. It was at just sort of 59.5, but just because the lows are here, it's easy to put a nice 20 pip stop in there, and try and let it run for 40 pips, and it did, push to the upside. Really found a floor at the sort of 58 level. If it reaches back down there, it's certainly worth trying to take long again. We're very close to it. This may be where new floor is, but we'll see. let's see. I'd rather now play it safe and look for some momentum to jump on the back of, but pretty much till the sort of US session just moved up nicely. So I'm happy with that. Happy coming out where we did, and let's see what it does. Just going to look back to the dailies. There's only really one pair of interest, which is Aussie NZD. I'm going to break through the dollars and the indices. Oil's having a push up. So Dow, after sort of Friday, relatively negative, bearish day today, although hardly anything, 70 pips almost. In a day, in the Dow is just such low volume. The VAX Germany has done the same, but see, it's looking a bit more interesting because much as we haven't really moved, I think we could push up and get a chance to take this short from here. But again, it's all dependent on Parliament, so I'm not going to be rushing into any trades. We'll see what that shows us. I'm going to try. I don't want to be giving anything back. So let's see a great start to December, up about 10% in the first week. So let's keep that going. Aussie CAD not looking so interesting. Aussie Yen again sort of rejected the daily 50 today. Just that slow volume. Yeah, it's expected to potentially keep picking up as the risk comes off and money flows out of the yen. But we will have to see how it progresses. Let some momentum get in. Aussie dollar still looking the same. I mean, it's just sort of hovering above the 50 and the 20, and after a push up, sort of consolidating before potentially another push up. So we'll keep an eye on that. But the Aussie NZD is the one I like the look of. So the reason for that is if you look at even on the daily here, oversold. It's created a sort of double bottom, which we'll look at lower time frames in a minute. But if we do get another nice, this kind of small candle today, if we get another nice bullish candle tomorrow, that should be sort of a bit of a signal for continuation to the upside. It may only just be up to the 20 EMA, but nonetheless could be a good 100 pips. If we look here on the bibs, it could push to the 50, which lines up with the daily 50, etc., which could be a good target on the pullback. But either way, it's a very safe target, being the daily 20 if that reversal starts could be a nice trade nonetheless. If we put, let's just say we buy in on the move up from there, you could have your stop below the lows. Just say the day 20 comes down a bit. Still just over a 1-to-1, but still a nice 80 pips there. So it could be a very nice trade. Keeping an eye on it. On the 1 hour, if we get that 1 hour 50 break and retest, that's going to be a good signal. I mean, the 50's been pretty well respected, as you can see, going back and back, all the way even back past early November. So for over a month, it's been very well respected. So if we do get a break to the upside and a pullback, be a very good signal for going long. Now, what we've got here is this double bottom you can see on the daily where it's rejected. I mean, you could be looking at buying when this breaks instead of waiting for the retest. Looks sort of good, but I still want to see that extra daily confirmation tomorrow. But yeah, I expect some kind of push up to 1.043. Where this kind of spike is, for it to turn around and retest 1 hour 50 and 0.32, is the ideal trade, and it's looking very good for that. Got plenty of room up to the 4 hour 50, and this is where that sort of daily 20 is sitting, roughly 1.0485. So daily 20 is a little bit higher than that 4 hour 50, but it's a very good one. Where it is over 100 pips right now. It's looking good. In the 4 hours, you can see it's looking strong. Again, double bottoms are clear. We just want it to break these sort of highs, which will coincide with the 1 hour 50. It could push back off the 4 hour 20. So if you want to play it safe, you could wait for that to happen. Wait for the push up. But I think it's looking good. Minimum up to the 4 hour 50, which is sort of somewhere around here. That's still 60 pips in itself. So looking very good. Looking very good. I mean, if you want to draw in some kind of not there. Don't like that either. There was something like that, it looks to kind of pushed up. It's looking good nonetheless for the double bottom. It's definitely sort of kind of descending wedge that's sort of been pushed and broken there. I mean, maybe it's to be drawn across there, but yeah, if we do get this push above the 1 hour 50, it's going to be looking good for a trade to the upside. So I've got my eyes on that. As I said, there really isn't much else sideways on Aussie chart. The one that did come in that we discussed before was the US dollar against the Singapore dollar. Euro just weak, more downside. No NZD, looking a bit similar to the Aussie, but I just prefer trading the Aussie. 1 hour 50 still not broken yet, and those 1 hour lows are a lot closer on the Aussie, so you could put your stops below that and be a lot safer. Far safer trade. This sort of sideways. Oh, yen still hovering above. The pounds, I mean, we're getting to some support, some resistance here, and it's getting a bit spiky. Not really doing much. Need a bit of a pullback. It definitely looks like we should have some kind of pullback shortly, but it's all going to be dependent on the elections. I guess we're going to have to see how it plays out. I mean, pound chuff is looking from today's candle, it's ready to drop down. And Aussie and CAD again is pushed up and turned around, sort of spiked there. We've got quite a bit of sort of resistance. It's a bit of a zone that's in there where that price action is, heading into over broad area. So it could be at the tops on the pounds. We'll just have to see how that reacts. CAD nothing there. This is a dollar, Singapore dollar. So when we looked at this last week, we was just rejecting this 15,200, and literally this was last Monday, and it has just pushed straight back to the downside, and the lows were the sort of target if anyone did get into this trade, and probably will come in there. It's really nice when we get the sort of retest strategies and pullback strategies play out on the higher time frames, where they just give you such nice big moves. That's playing out. Seeing dollars, chuff and dollars. I mean, you see the dollars do look like they're pulling back. Look at this day. So that coincides with our bias on the sort of crosses on the longs. So Aussie NZD looking very interesting. Just sideways elsewhere. It just nothing really happening. It really is slow, quiet market conditions. There's a sort of top. I mean, chuck in. I mean, we've got a nice sort of. We could draw a nice short trend line in here. It's got a top here. So will it push above? I mean, if you look for long, if it does break above, but yeah, push back up to here. It's 112 kind of region. But yeah, at the moment, no real reason to be looking to go long. And that's it. Not much happening. I'm just interested to see where it closes out, and what happens in the morning if we get a kind of a bullish start. Maybe try and jump on that and push to the upside. But that's it. That's it. The main interesting trades really is Aussie NZD. Nothing else really to report, but we've got that news tonight. So we'll see what gets discussed there. If that looks to be good news, we'll see in the morning and try and take advantage and look for the buy on the 1 hour. Once we get this push up, likely, if it does tonight go well and get a push up, it'll be the pullback that we'll take advantage of in the morning, and then that should take us up to the 4 hour 50 minimum, which lines up with the 1 hour 200. So that's what we can look to target. That's about it, guys. As I say, it's just keep an eye on things, manage positions, and just be very aware of all the news this week. Keep checking on the news if there's any updates, even on social media, anything that gives you some kind of clues as to what's happening. Do catch it in one momentum, try and jump on the back of it. But that's it. That's all we've got for the moment. I look forward to catching you on the next one. Happy hunting.